Hello everyone, my name is Jufh Maidah and my student number is 132. I'm from Global Intercultural Communication Class 2023D. Today I will talk about how intercultural communication is shown in the anime Moriarty the Patriot. And you can see here is the table of content that I will talk about. It consists of the short synopsis of the anime, analyzing the hostage value, communication style, and power dynamics that are in the anime. And not only that, I will also identify the issues as well as to propose the solutions. And now you might think what Moriarty the Patriot is about. Well, it's a twist on Conan Doyle's original Sherlock Holmes series. Moriarty the Patriot follows a man going by the name William James Moriarty and how his ideals of justice take him to become a criminal mastermind. This story is set in 19th century, so of course Victorian had a high power distance, meaning there were clear divisions between the rich and the poor. People from the lower class had little power, while the aristocrats had all the control. Moriarty had to be very careful with how he communicated to navigate this unequal system. High power distance is reflected in how the justice system is skewed in favor of the upper class. Nobles often escape punishment for their crimes, while the lower class lack the means to seek justice. The Moriarty brothers' action often involved eliminating corrupt nobles to create a more egalitarian society. In the anime, the aristocrats use low context communication, which means they speak in a very directly manner. Moriarty, however, uses high context communication, which means he relies on hints, body language, and subtle messages. These differences often causes misunderstanding between the characters. Another half-state dimension is individualism versus collectivism. Victorian society is very individualistic. People care more about their personal status and wealth. Moriarty, on the other hand, values collectivism. He fights for the well-being of the poor as a group, which clashes with the values of the aristocrat. Now let's talk about Moriarty's communication style. Moriarty speaks in a formal and polite way, even when he is plotting a crime against the aristocracy. This shows how he uses his language to hide his true intention. In contrast, the aristocrats are often blunt, which come off as rude or arrogant. Moriarty's body language is very controlled. A small smile or a glance can reveal a lot about his plan. The aristocrats often miss this signal as they are not used to reading between the lines. In contrast, Sherlock Holmes is highly observant and skilled at analyzing people, allows him to understand Moriarty's intention much better. Next, there is a miscommunication that happens in episode 2 when William hints at the flaws in the class system. Lord Albert initially does not grasp the full depth of his word. This happens because Albert's perspective is shaped by his aristocrat upbringing, which blinds him to the struggle of the lower class. Now let's move on to the power dynamic in communication. In Victorian, the aristocrats hold almost absolute control over society. Their wealth and social position give them the authority in every interaction. Moriarty may not have the same social power as them, but he uses his communication skill to gain control. And sometimes the anime shows positive examples of intercultural communication. For instance, when Moriarty teams up with Sherlock Holmes, they work well together because they respect each other and share the same goal even though they have their own solution to address the problem. However, there are many times when communication fails. For example, the aristocrats often dismiss the concern of the lower class because they don't understand their struggles, like in episode 4 where a viscount refused to lend his private doctor to help his servant son who is sick and let him die. The issues that I have analyzed is when people from different backgrounds fail to understand each other. It can lead to bigger problems. In the anime, misunderstanding between classes often create the gap between them even wider. Ultimately, the failure to truly understand one another perpetuates inequality. And because of this rigid class system, the aristocrats often don't feel the need to engage in deeper, more empathetic communication with the lower class, leading to a silencing of their voice. This lack of communication keeps the system unfair and creates resentment between the classes. The solutions that I can think of to address this problem is active listening. The aristocrats need to listen more carefully to the lower class, and the lower class need to learn to trust the aristocrats. And this would help them understand their concerns and build trust to each other. Another solution is to understand different communication styles. For example, the aristocrats could learn to pick up a non-verbal cues and subtle messages. Perhaps this would help them communicate better with people like Moriarty, who uses body language to communicate. And the last one is shared goals. When people focus on shared goals, communication improves. And like in the anime, Moriarty and Holmes succeed because they work together toward justice, even though they come from a different backgrounds and have a conscious way to solve a problem. These lessons are not just for the anime. In real life, we also face some similar challenges when communicating with people from different cultures and background from us. Learning to listen, understanding the context, and work together can make a big difference with just a little steps. And in Moriarty the Patriot, the way people from different social classes communicate reveals the power imbalances between them. These communication challenges show how deeply class affect interaction. By understanding these challenges, we can learn to communicate better in our lives. And that's it. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.